Yeah. 안녕하세요. Okay, sorry. Hi everyone. I'm Jooman Han from A41. I'll be moderating our panel discussion about what ZK proof enables, zero knowledge proof enables. Here we have amazing panelists here. My favorite founders are here all together. And Shiv from Boundless, and Uma from Succinct, they built ZK-VM, world's fastest ZK-VM, and recently delivered the real-time proof generation on Ethereum, and also they have launched the auction market so that aim to deliver the nearly zero cost on proof generation. And Sandy, one of the pioneers in the ZK field, and delivered the ZK-EVM and ZK-L2 scroll from scroll, and also currently as far as I know, she also focused on the application side as well on their infrastructure. So I'm really happy to be here and having this kind of exciting panel discussion, and also. Definitely I have to explain myself, introduce myself. A41, we are also doing R&D stuff as a prover to solve the cost problem, serving the multi-ZK VM within a single cluster, and also doing compiler stuff as well. So yeah, so before beginning, I know my founders, you founders are really tech savvy, and I know tech savvy and tech savvy, but we have various audience are here. So as a moderator, my role will be take this discussion accessible to everyone. So please help me out this. Yeah. Okay. So let's move on to the first question. So I'd like to say that today is we are entering the ZK era. So I've never expected this fast, but we have seen in terms of the performance and latency on proof generation is exponentially grows in this year, and we have seen that multiple years, and we have seen Ethereum real-time proof generation, and they are saying that they're going all in on the ZK side, and also we have a bunch of roadmaps are there. So all the evidence indicates that we are entering the new era, and as a pioneer and at the frontier, what's the focus, core focus of your project right now, and what kind of ZK proof technology enables in the blockchain field?
I'll go first. I think. So that's a very valid observation. I think the promise of ZK has always been there for the longest time. Sandy is part of the first wave, I would say, in bringing ZK forward, and blockchain in specific saw the value prop for scale, for off-chain computation, how math can really push the entire industry forward. But I think we hit a sort of inflection point, I want to say 2-ish years ago, when people not just saw the value, they saw the pace of innovation, and more capital started coming in, right? All of us would love to work on our favorite projects, but we'd also love to get a salary out of it. And as we started hitting that inflection point, more and more teams started innovating on every front. I'll also, sort of pat my own team on the back by sort of inventing the ZK-VM and putting it out there. What we really allowed is for the platformization of the technology as well. So we weren't just dealing with a circuit, which 200 devs could really understand properly. We had a software stack where you could bring innovation at every layer and keep iterating on performance, whether it's tuning GPUs, or how you actually write your code, or the proof system itself, or the math behind it. Innovation at every front started happening, and you can parallelize the efforts to actually make ZK-VMs go faster and essentially move ZK forward. For us, as an industry, I guess, performance is always going to be critical, but I'll also say, ZK or ZK-VMs are sort of like the engine. Nobody buys engines, they buy cars. right? So it's about packaging all of this information together, packaging this product in a way that is consumable by people who want to build applications, who want to build roll-ups or do DeFi or whatever, what have you, understanding the use cases, making sure the ZKVM is packaged and delivered to them at the point of development in the language or the environment that they understand, whether it be smart contracts, whether it be they're just doing it on Rust, what have you. You need to make sure the software is packaged very effectively. So in a lot of ways, one thing, I mean, you pointed this out as well. 20 months ago, like there was just one ZKVM in the world. 19 months ago, there was 2. Yesterday, I counted there was 38. So God only knows how many we're going to have by next month and so on, which is a good thing. And all the ZKVMs also kind of look similar, which is great. Progress is happening. I think it's time to focus on DevX, making sure it's in the hands of people who are building applications, listening to their feedback and adapting it, because the performance is already there. Proven networks like Boundless, which are completely decentralized, reduce the cost because of the market forces to such an accessible point that every application can now be a ZK application, every rollup can be a ZK rollup, everything can be ZK.
Okay, Sandy.
Hello, it's good to be here. It's not my first time coming to KBW, and I remember when the first time we met, probably 2 or 3 years ago, a lot of the conversations around dinner tables and in conferences are around what is ZK, and a lot of our efforts in evangelizing and public education is around what is the technology and what can it possibly do. I think fast forward to today, what we're seeing a lot more is that I think people's attention doesn't evolve with the status of technical development as closely, and a lot of the conversation are now shifted towards how to actually apply it. And this is also an interesting juncture where there's a lot of changes on the TradFi and regulatory side, so there's a lot more financial products and different kind of Web 2 entities coming into the space, and all the same time as the ZK stack is becoming more and more mature. I think, as you mentioned, we're one of the first ZK-EVMs to build a holistic product and reach stage 1, which is a signal of security. We're still exploring and experimenting on the forefront of ZK innovation. So our own version of ZK-VM interpretation is coming out in the next few months. Already in audit. You'll see it on ETH Proof soon. It's called CENO. And the CENO paper was the first time that a no CPU approach to designing ZK-VM was kind of offered. And now you can see a lot more other ZK-VM projects like OpenVM and so on and so forth moving in a similar direction. So we're still very heads down and very committed to kind of moving towards like a sub-second or instant ZK proving future, which I think will be here in a matter of months, if it won't be like years. And then on the other side, really excited by the number of applications that are using ZK and embedding it at multiple levels of product design. And I think we're seeing definitely a few very exciting projects that are applying ZK, not just in the, obviously the blockchain scaling is one very well-known use case, but we're also seeing some other implementations of that combined with financial innovation. And so I think this is still, we're still in the very early innings of this technology being applied in shaping the financial stack of the future. But the good thing is now there's no longer much of a debate. The entire ecosystem is moving very much closer and closer to a more holistic kind of like ZK-enabled stack, both on the ETH L1 side and also on the L2 side and on like other layers of the application design.
Yeah, Uma? Yeah.
Hello, I'm Uma. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Succinct. We're building a ZK-VM called SP1, and we recently launched our decentralized prover network. I kind of like to look at what our company's done every year as kind of a different phase. So I would say 2024 was kind of building the core technology. It was building the ZK-VM, making it fast, making it secure, releasing the first version. And I think, Sandy should get a lot of credit, and Scroll, they should get a lot of credit for, I think, 3 or 4 years ago, making a type 1 ZK-EVM, or sorry, maybe type 2 ZK-EVM, maybe now it's type 1, back at a time when no one thought it was possible. And then I remember in 2024, there was kind of the ZK-VM performance wars with like us and Res0 and many other people, where people didn't think you could just write normal code and use ZK and still have it be fast and cheap, and kind of we proved them wrong there. And there was us and many other teams doing that. In 2025 so far, I would say it's been a lot of the crypto native use cases. So think like L2s, every rollup will be a ZK rollup. When the year started, people kind of didn't believe that would be possible. I think now it's become very consensus. You have ETH L1 going all in real-time proving, all in ZK to scale the L1. And with Succinct, we have this partnership with Arbitrum where they're going to ZKify their stack using SP1 in our technology. So kind of the crypto native use cases have been the story of 2025. And I would say later this quarter or later this year and early next year, the thing I'm most excited about is to see ZK break out of kind of this Web3 blockchain L1, L2 space and really go institutional, enterprise, real world use cases and real world adoption. So just to give an example, the Coinbase chief legal officer was tweeting about how the Bank Secrecy Act and KYC regime is very broken. It makes no sense. It leads to a lot of data being collected and stored, and that can get hacked. And he thinks ZK can be a really great solution to fix all those problems. And I think we'll see increasingly many use cases outside of kind of all the things we like discussing that became mainstream in 2025. And the next year, we're going to make ZK mainstream, an actual Web 2, technology that like hundreds of millions, billions of people can use for KYC, compliance, ZK identity. Kind of the use cases are really endless, and that's what I'm really excited about.
Yeah, thanks for the answers. Actually, we spent lots of time than expectation, but anyway, that's the examples. Yeah, so just like Sandy said, like 2 or 3 years ago, like we are trying to educate the what ZK tech will deliver. And 2025, we are finally seeing the result from that, and that L1 from L1, L2, or other cases, example cases, like indicate that like we are entering the ZK era. Yeah. So actually, I think we have to dive into directly number 3 questions. So I'd like to ask Sandy first. I know that Scroll team currently using a ZK-VM, and that is not that is the open ZK-VM, just like you said, and it's not a Succinct. Succinct is SP1 Turbo, and also like it's not a general risk zero ZK-VM as well. So what's the reason behind that selecting the open ZK-VM? And what's the criteria? And also, like I've heard that like that CENO is like your own ZK-VM for the Scroll. So I guess like you guys are currently building some kind of like a customized ZK-VM for Scroll team. So can you share the rationale behind why you are building the own ZK-VM, and also like why you are selecting other than open ZK-VM as well?
Thank you. That's a great question. So for those of you that are not super deep into the ZK-VM universe, OpenVM is a open source program or setup that we started with Axiom, and Scroll is currently using, where we are using ZK-VM, there is, a kind of increasing consensus that ZK-VM is more efficient. But that's not to say the current existing way ZK-VMs are built is the end state. So we think there's still a lot of room for interpretation and experimentation and also optimization. So when we started, when we published the CENO paper actually a really long time ago, I can't remember exactly, but it was probably even before the so-called ZK-VM war took over CT. And there was a very grand vision that led all the way to kind of instant proving, and it's a time when the vision was that this would support a lot of very secure and robust financial transactions on chain, and create this, or be a part of this global stack of financial openness and open infrastructure. So we have that ethos as we go about this exploration, and we do a lot of collaboration with researchers and other kind of partners as a part of this open source program. And we also want to kind of remain like a competitor or an athlete in the ZK race. And our current benchmarks are showing very promising results. I think the difference between the way we built our kind of blockchain and ZK stack is that we're also the customer of ZKVM. So we've spent, obviously we built the L2 and we run the L2, and so to speak, like kind of like understanding what customer needs, like we're also the customer. So in some sense, we're wearing both hats, and then so the level of understanding of kind of where the market or where application builders is moving towards, I think we're in a good kind of vantage point and position to understand what's needed there, and also we kind of want to support this like ZK continuous innovative and scaling effort.
Understood well. So why I asked this question is like in this ZKVM world, there's a sort of like a custom ZKVM versus general ZKVM. That topic is quite an interesting point. So I'd like to, this is kind of intention of the KBW to set this just like this. So yeah, Shiv,
wait,
you have, yeah.
So we keep saying ZKVM war. I'm like, so it's a healthy thing, right? Like it's a new industry for everyone to try more interesting things. I actually met a bunch of college students in India who went on vacation for 2 weeks and built a new ZKVM as a fun project. I don't know why that's their version of fun and why they weren't doing other things. But what's actually happening is it is speeding up research in new ways of solving problems in the ZK space, whether it's writing custom things based on some domain expertise that you might have or some new research, emergent research which you want to try out. I know you're all working with like compilers. Like, there's now an incentive mechanism for everyone to try new things. The ZKVM stack, it's a software stack that allows you to play around with like different parts. All projects are open source, right? Like RIS0 is completely open source. SP1 is pretty open source as well. Like you can like take what you want, apply your own skill sets, and like improve on the ZKVM paradigm. And we're looking forward to that. I want to live in a world where like we've tried lots of different research ideas. I hope the colleges and all are also teaching more ZK. I actually was taught ZK in college. I just thought it was kind of boring and just kind of dreamt through my slept through most of my classes. Too bad now I'm running a ZK company. But it's like very important to try these things out. The next generation of ZKVMs are coming out, right? Hypercube, the next circuit from RIS0, which is going to be 10x faster. Airbender, which is a ZK Sync specific ZKVM. Scrolls building one. Lots of like teams who have the skill set should not be sitting and like just like like observing what's happening in the ZK space, getting up and doing something about it. So I actually laud that. I would love to see even more teams trying out different things. With like proven marketplaces, you can actually plug in innovation and bring it to market even faster. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, thanks for jumping to this topic. And actually, there's a bunch of questions I have, but we have a limited time, so I have to just dive into the auction market as well. Like Succinct team, like currently, like we have like an auction market. Also, everyone is joined on the auction market as well. Currently, like, but Boundless team has an auction market as well. These two teams has like a different strategy toward the auction market. Feels like. So could you share your perspective toward the auction market and how's the winning strategy of the in this new auction market? So Uma, could you start it?
Yeah, so I would say the main thing we optimized for when we built our prover network and the auction strategy, where you have a bunch of different provers connect and bid for each proof and try to lower the price as much as possible, is really latency. I think some of the biggest use cases in ZK, like ETH L1 ZK proving, really rely on real-time proving, which means you need kind of the provers to bid as fast as possible and then select one to prove, and then they just go and start generating the proof. So in our case, we have a single sequencer, kind of similar to an L2 model. You have a single centralized sequencer. You have the auction mechanism cleared by the sequencer, and then that person can start generating the proof in like a couple hundred milliseconds. And then you basically have these trades matched up and proved as part of a verifiable application, or kind of like an L2 roll-up style thing. So yeah, I think our auctioning mechanism is most centered around reducing latency, and probably I think Boundless made a kind of different set of trade-offs that maybe Shiv can talk about.
Yeah, for us, like our focus is definitely decentralization. Like my background is in marketplaces, designing them at Coinbase, where I used to work with Paul quite a lot as well. Lyft, Grab, which is a Southeast Asian rideshare company, Amazon. The reverse Dutch auction is the fastest way to do price discovery, but also decentralization is very, very important to us. Because if ETH-L1 is actually going to take a dependency on us, and we really hope that they do, and there are good signs that they will, we want to make sure we don't become a central point of failure. One last anecdote, and I know we'll have to stop, is that like whilst we were running our mainnet beta, because of a domain name issue, our entire website and all our like infrastructure went down, and the market kept on running, 100% uptime. That was the dream scenario, because that's what we promise customers. It's like if there is an earthquake in Seattle and my home is washed away and I'm washed away with it, knock on wood, doesn't happen. But if it does, Boundless keeps going. That's very, very important to us. We're very happy with the results that we have. 2,700 provers, 90 trillion cycles. We're very happy with our choices and where it's headed.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I misprepared the 20 minutes. Too short for us, like for ZK topic. But anyway, like time's up. Like I guess, can I do one more question? Like, is there like because like Korean communities are big, and actually like Korean likes the ZK topics. That Kaito has data on that. So like, do you have any like a big announcement on your project or of the roadmap of the 2025 for Korean community? Then just drop it shortly. Anyone?
It's not for like Korea.
Yes, left to right, left to right. Yeah.
Left to right. Okay.
Yeah.
Keep an eye out for ZK actually going mainstream and kind of going beyond the blockchain use cases today, and going to enterprises, institutional, and more.
We've been coming to Korea for many, many years, and really excited about the market and the number of ZK talents here. And we have a number of team members who are local from Korea, so very excited. So I would encourage everyone to look into the latest developments and join any project that you like and enjoy. There's definitely a lot of interesting innovation and a lot more application level innovation that's happening. So keep an eye out.
Yeah, same here. This is my 4th trip to Korea this year. I'm going to keep coming back. And my goal really is to keep engaging with the developer community, especially in colleges, KAIST and SNU and all of these places. Make sure everybody who graduates can write a ZK program. I graduated without writing a ZK program. Won't let that happen again. So hopefully all college students graduate with some knowledge of ZK, and that'll accelerate things in the next 2-3 years beyond that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, so thanks for having us, and thanks for being our panelists. Yeah, please clap. 박수 주세요.
Thank you to our panelists. Now.